Future Proof is sponsored by Equipping Young Adults for Life, inspiring student resilience, championing hope.
Hello and welcome back from the break. Thank you for joining me, Sarah Hopwood, as I continue this programme looking at or answering the question, why is it that sometimes we think people are better than us? It's all based on Joyce Meyer, and she's a lady who has listed 10 negative mindsets that can really affect our thinking and hold us back. And in the first half, I also shared some of the tools, or one of the tools. I'm going to share another one now in this second half, that I take into education when I've worked with students, preparing them for work experience, or indeed being part of their work experience week by training them in problem solving skills, taking them into a business, the business giving them a problem, the kids solving it, and then delivering a PowerPoint presentation to heads of school, obviously the board of directors, parents and their teachers and their peer groups. So over the years, we know that many students have used the tools that we've taught them, and they've taken them away and carried on using them as they have solved problems quietly on their own, or indeed in groups, or even debates and discussions at school and at home. So the first question we're asking out of 10 is, I'm looking at dealing with negative mindsets, and this negative mindset of everybody else is better than me. And the answer is they are not. We just have a duty of care to ourselves to just work out what we are good at and then run with that. And very often it's very, very small steps. And I will share a story with you at the end as to how I did that over hairdressing. But for now, going into the break, I talked about don't compare. Comparing is so destructive, and also talked about Howard Gardner, who's written so much about multiple intelligences. And Howard Gardner doesn't ask if you're intelligent, he asks how you are intelligent. And he talks about 8 intelligences, linguistic, which is languages being one. So it's usually people who find that very easy. I say they spot a spelling mistake before opening an email. Numerical, that's numbers people. My husband's a chartered accountant, lines and columns. So he can be overwhelmed with too many words. Interpersonal, these are people who have got a great social network going on, and they're very, very good at listening and relating and empathy. Intrapersonal, that's how self-knowing we are, how self-smart we are, how good are we at saying, I'm sorry, I got it wrong, how can I put it right? Aesthetics, these are people who are musical and they're cultural, they're aesthetically, they will, for example, perhaps be very good designers, particularly say around properties or gardens. Kinesthetic, these can be sporting people who are good at passing, anticipating, team players and what have you. Moral intelligence, what kind of conscience do you have and how true are to your conscience, or do you override your conscience and dumb it down when your conscience said, oh, I shouldn't have done that, and then you verbally dumb it down and just say, oh well, it won't matter, everybody else does it, so why shouldn't I? And people with high moral intelligence will actually catch themselves out and say, no, that's not good enough, I don't care how many other people do it, I know that it's wrong and I'm not going to do it, I'm going to correct it. And spiritual intelligence, and that is literally about the fact we are all spiritual human beings, and we're so good at building up defense mechanisms and showing the world what we want the world to see, so the world can't hurt us anymore. And one of the biggest favors I did to myself was take out some of those barriers, those defenses. And yes, I felt perhaps more vulnerable, and people knew me so much better. They knew where my trigger points were, but for me, just I settled, if you like. I was like a hovercraft that had just come up onto the sandy beach and just settled for the first time. So it really, really served me. So I was saying about the tools can be quite pictorial, And the first half I talked about writing out your magic wand list. What is on that magic wand list? So your challenge then is pick out maybe 3 of your top 3 favourites that are on that list. And then I challenge you, whatever might be on that list, go and now try and draw it. And get an old piece of paper, it doesn't matter what it is. And if you can, draw what that now looks like in your life. If you can't draw it, it means you can't see it. If you can't see it, then it means it won't happen. And before now, when I've done this in business, sometimes people have got out pen and paper that I've given them, and then I've looked over their shoulder and I can see they're still not drawing, they're now writing out those words. And I go, no, draw it. You don't have to be an artist. Do stick people. Even if you draw a boat, and maybe if you feel you've got to label it and say boat, but still draw a symbol for it, and you'll be amazed at what the results that come from it. And then if you can, frame it. Or another thing to do is maybe put it by the side of your bed, that every time you get out in the morning you stand and on top of those dreams that you want, the things that you want. And the key thing is stop comparing and stop thinking that everybody else is better than you. All that is in your mind. That is not true. They might be better at you in something, but not in everything. And our duty is just to go and find out what we're good at, and it will move you away from discontent. And then you're able to go and say to somebody, well done. And what I did actually a while ago, when people were better than me at things, and they were actually the things that I wanted, I then made myself go and congratulate them on the things that they were achieving, believing then that I was speaking into my own future. And I call it gamification. I was literally saying, right, the more people I congratulate, then the closer I get to being where they are. And I hunted these people out and just said, well done, I thought that was fantastic. Well done, I thought that was brilliant. You spoke very well. I really enjoyed this part of it. I really enjoyed that part of it. Okay, enough of that, another visual. So another tool is called the 5 WHYS. And the reason that this tool sits here, and again we use it in business a lot, it's ever so good in board meetings when you're trying to get to the crux of a matter. But if we just stick with this, everyone else is better than me, why not ask 5 times, where is it that you've got that belief system from? So you can start off, why is it I believe that everybody else is better than me? And it could just be, well, that's what I was always told. And then you say, why do you think you were always told that? Well, because I was never the favourite and whatever. Why do you think that was? Well, because I was often naughty or whatever, and I don't know what it is. Or it could just be I wasn't there very often, so people couldn't see what I was good at. And so it wasn't evident to them, so they had nothing, not nothing, but they didn't go hunting to try and praise me, so maybe they couldn't see what I was good at. So the tool called the 5 WHYS is, the principle of it is saying, if you ask the question why enough times, then you will get to the cause or where the belief system is. So I did it once when I was business manager in a care home, and somebody emailed me explaining why, when we had that awful snow a while ago and we were really worried about the residents, how basically they didn't want to come into work. And they were very, very senior, and they thought they sent a very good explanation email, and I replied with the 5 WHYS. I spoke about the tools, and I said, I just want to say I don't think you've made the right decision, so let's scenario plan why you've emailed me. And we went through, and I literally sort of just ran it, and I said, why have you emailed me? Because you're feeling uncomfortable sitting where you are. Why do you feel uncomfortable? Because you're hoping it's the right decision, but you're worried that it's the wrong decision. So why are you worried that it might be the wrong decision? Well, because I've got responsibilities at home and what have you, and I'm worried that if I stay in the home, what have you, I won't be able to get back. Why are you worried about that? Because I'm worried about the roads, or I'm worried about accountability if it all goes wrong. And I'm not saying it was right, but I scenario planned. And when I got right down to the final why, the final why was, I do not feel comfortable making a decision to come and live in the home during this difficult time. because I am worried about the consequences. So in other words, the reason why she was emailing me was not to say, hey, we're friends, I know you understand me, but I just want to let you know. It was because she was feeling guilty or unsettled about her decision, and she could then identify her own reasons why, but through my scenario planning, that it was through complete and total lack of confidence in a decision that she didn't want to make. So 5WHYS, I commend it to you, a fantastic tool. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be looking at another negative mindset that is not serving you. And so this positive mindset, you say, is I'm unique and I'm special. My duty is to just be good at being who I am and to congratulate everybody else on being who they are.